Hello and welcome back to the channel, or technically I guess if this is your first time here, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Steuben. And yeah, we do Pokemon deck profiles and gameplay content occasionally on the channel, but for the most part as of recent we've been doing these tabletop deck profiles because, you know, I just have so many freaking cards, man. So hey, if there's a deck that you want to see out there, let me know, and if I have the cards, I will happily slap it together, sleeve it up, and show it off to you guys. Anyways, though, before we do get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below to support the channel. I really appreciate all the views and the likes and the comments we've been getting as of recent. You guys are really helping us push forward on our way to a YouTube partner. But yeah, let's do this. So we're looking at Blissey and Miltank today. Pretty straightforward, actually. This is something that Emily's had in her backpack for a hot minute. And I figured I'd finally steal it out, sort it, and do a deck profile for you. So yeah, star of the show is Blissey V, 250 HP, flying out of Chilling Reign with the ability Natural Cure. Whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to this Pokemon, it recovers from all special conditions. That doesn't really matter too much. We do play Path to the Peak, so just want to basically be a big wall / brick. But the attack here for one colorless, 10 plus, Blissful Blast, does 30 more damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon, and if you did any damage, you can attach up to 3 energy cards from your discard pile of this Pokemon. So we're playing a whole bunch of special colorless energy to accelerate onto this, and you get all the effects from it, and just do a lot of damage while being a massive wall with 250 HP anyways. So this is the main attacker of the deck, and definitely something super solid here. Really fun to play this deck. Alright, continuing on, we've got 2 copies of Miltank from Astral Radiance with the ability Miracle Body. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V. That also includes VMAX, V-Union, V-Star. Keep that in mind, that it applies to all of them. So basically this is just like another wall here. It's got 110 HP, which isn't a lot, but we can buff that up with Cape. But we do have the attack route for 2 colorless here, 10 plus. It does 20 more damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So that full bench, you know, that's 5, that's 100, 110, plus or minus any modifiers you might have. But, you know, consistent, safe. A lot of decks can't always deal with this. They do have to expend extra resources to be able to handle Miltank. But these are your attackers, I guess you could say. And then continuing on, we've got Yveltal, or Eviltal, whatever you want to call it. The real reason we have it in here is for Cry Destruction, to discard 3 special energy from your opponent's Pokemon. One of the things that Blissey actually has a hard time against, surprisingly, is Mew. If they can get all 4 of your Fusion Strike energy in play and hit for 280, put a Choice Belt 310, they can get over Blissey with the Cape. So Yveltal just discards those special energy and keeps it out of the equation for the most part. And, I mean, this could potentially be good against the Mirror Match and or whatever else, so keep that in mind. We have 1 copy of Tornadus. This was made popular by Connor Lavelle, who we had on the Gusto Win podcast a few weeks back. So take a look at the iCard up here and go listen to that episode if you want more insight on this sort of deck for the most part. But the ability Sudden Cyclone, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to your bench, during your turn specifically, you have your opponent switch their active with another bench Pokemon. So this is to get around things like Flying Pikachu that basically just says, hey, I can't be touched by your basics. You can Tornadus, Sudden Cyclone, and then gust around it with a Boss of Orders or whatever. So keep that in mind. And then the attack Blasting Wind for 3 colorless does 100. You can actually get there, and it's another out to your opponent's Miltanks as well. We've got 1 copy of Radiant Greninja. Discard energy card, draw 2. This gets all our special energy into the discard pile faster, so Blissey can just start pounding in super fast here. We're never going to attack with Moonlight Shuriken. We're not playing any water energy. And the last Pokemon is Dunsparce, Mysterious Nest, to cover up our colorless weakness. There's not too much fighting going around. We've seen a lot of ARC intel pop off as of recent. Check the latest deck profile before this one out. And I think we might see a resurgence of people on online events and maybe some local events trying to counter ARC intel again. And if they counter ARC with fighting types, then Blissey's just in that same target. So you got to play the Dunsparce to protect your butt. Continuing on to supporters, we've got 3 copies of Professor's Research. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. We've got 2 copies of Avery. Draw 3, and then if your opponent has, more than 3 bench Pokemon, they're going to discard them until they have 3 left. So this is good against Palkia, where it can eat some damage off the board here. But also, this is just a generic draw 3 at this point with an extra effect to kind of just disrupt your opponent, which honestly that they really have to deal with a lot of HP in the form of Blissey and the walls in the form of Miltank. Continuing on, we got 2 copies of Zinnia's Resolve. You have to discard 2 other cards from your hand to play this, but you draw a card for every one of your opponent's Pokemon in play. So you can discard your special energy or whatever you don't necessarily want or need, and then draw a handful of cards while keeping your hand and not really discarding more of your healing and switching options like with Research would do. Now we're playing 4 copies of Boss's Orders. Blissey can one-shot most things, but also, you can boss up the wrong target and hide behind Miltank if you need to. So boss is super important. These are definitely something you don't want to throw away. Just always have this in your pocket, basically ready to go. And this is really a big game changer for this style of deck here. Almost done with the supporters. We've got 2 copies of Marnie, hand disruption for your opponent, and kind of a soft reset for us. Don't use it too often, but when you do, it's pretty impactful. And we do have 1 copy of Roxanne here. We do play Path of the Peak, so Roxanne Path is really good against a lot of things like Mew. And, just in general, any deck that's like kind of not relying on Bibarel for their draw engine. If this deck gets Roxanne Path, I mean, that doesn't feel too good. You can't get out of it with a Greninja, but keep that in mind. Really strong option to keep in there. And last but not least, 1 copy of Sharon's Care. Put one of your colorless Pokemon that has any damage counters on it, and put them into your hand and all cards attached to it. So basically, if they get close to a KO on a Blissey or a Miltank, you can just scoop it up, put it back in your hand, and just start from scratch. Item cards. 3 copies of Quick Ball, pretty straightforward. Discard a card, get a basic Pokemon. Only playing 3 because we are playing 4 copies of Capture Energy, so keep that in mind. We've got 4 copies of Hyper Potion, heal 120 damage, and then discard 2 energy from one of your Pokemon. So you can just discard Double Turbo from Blissey and just heal it. This is insane. Continuing up the heal, we also have Team Miltank heals 50 from both active Pokemon. In some situations where you can get the one-shot and you can heal 50 from them anyways, it doesn't necessarily matter. Or if you boss up something stupid and use Team Miltank to heal your Blissey in combination with Hyper Potion, to be able to take 170 damage off in a turn is pretty insane. 1 more healing card and technically a switch card. We have switch card. The entire deck is basic Pokemon, so you're able to use this instead of just regular switch. And you get a little healing of 30 along the way from that active Pokemon that got moved out. We've got 4 copies of Cape of Toughness. This cranks Blissey up to 250 and Miltank up to 160. Technically, if you need to, because of things like quick shooting and pings and stuff like that, you could also buff up Dunsparce or whatever, but for the most part, you're really just going to put these on Blissey and Miltank to increase their HP and keep them alive longer, keep them in the game longer. Not a lot of decks can hit 300 plus damage in a single turn, and if you're able to heal and do it all correctly, this deck is basically just a giant wall that attacks. Think of it like Thwomps from Super Mario 64. Those are big walls, but if they fall on you, bro, it hurts. Oh man, let me tell you. Last item card, we've got 1 Scoop Up Net. This is to be able to reuse and abuse Tornadus or Greninja for the most part. You can use it on Miltank if you have to as a switch out or a Scoop Up Net, but you also basically just have Sharon's Care too, and your switch cards and all that. So just, be very mindful of your resources while playing this deck, but definitely something to keep in consideration. And then we've got 4 copies of Path to the Peak. Turn off all rule boxes. Yes, that turns off Greninja, and it turns off Blissey's ability. Blissey's ability, like I said earlier, it doesn't really come up often. Doesn't mean too much. So it's okay to eat it. In some situations, it is nice. There's some random rogue decks that will, inflict status conditions to be able to remove them is cool. But for the most part, slow your opponent down and just build up a big blissful blast in Blissey and heal it off as you need to. And then for the energy, we've got 3 copies of Lucky Energy. If it gets hit, you're going to draw a card from this. To get a couple of these on your Blissey feels really good. Could be replaced with that new treasure energy coming out in the next set, where it's like a lucky egg almost. This is still really good to be able to draw because they're not going to guarantee a KO, but I could definitely see at least one of those like draw 7 energies come into this deck after the next set. We've got 4 copies of Powerful Colorless Energy. This counters your double turbos negative 20. So, or just in general, if you have a couple of these, you're not only doing the damage for the Blissey itself, but you're stacking 20 more for each one of these on there. If you get all 4 there, there's 80 plus the actual damage itself for the 30 for each energy. Feeling really good. We've got 4 copies of Capture, another colorless energy that has an effect, and you're able to just go ahead and grab a Pokemon from the deck, so you can attach Capture energy and grab Greninja and discard another card and start popping off from there. And then last but not least, 4 copies of Double Turbo Energy. Counts as 2, but you do 20 less. Technically, it's just a plus 10 when it comes to Blissey, but this is really good for the Miltank to be able to attack faster. And this is also your Hyper Potion food. You have this on there, you play the Hyper Potion, it counts for both energies. You can attach this, you can get these reattached easily every turn with the attack, so just keep that in mind. This deck is super susceptible to Temple of Sin. That's why we have 4 Path to counteract that. It isn't something you see too often. If you see somebody playing Temple of Sinnoh, they're honestly going to play like 1. Your damage is still counted individually, so I mean they would technically turn this into 1, but this would also remove the negative effect too. So just keep that in mind. Temple is scary, but it's not like an end-all be-all. You can still get around and still beat it. But this is the Blissey deck that Annalise had built. I've played a few games with it myself. It's a lot of fun. We got a lot of our inspiration from Connor Lavelle, like I said, who was on the Gust of Wind podcast a few weeks back. Check that out on the channel. And don't forget to check out all the sponsors. If you're buying physical cards like these, or card sleeves, or play mats, or accessories, check out TCGplayer.com and use our affiliate link to kick back to the channel. And of course, if you need PTCGO codes to build this deck on PTCGO, check out Guardian Gaming TCGs and use code STUBIN for 15% off your purchase. Again, those are instantly delivered. And then, of course, hanging out with me over on Twitch. I'm getting back into the commentary game for the one locals we play at, so keep in mind out for that. It's a lot of fun. Come join in on that. But yeah, that's it. Much love, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.